So in this tutorial, I will take you through the steps to create an animated bouncing ball. And we are going to use Piskel. We are going to select a color for our ball. And then we are going to use the circle tool. So click and hold, create a ball, get our paint bucket tool, and we are going to create a ball like that. And then now we're going to start animating. So a little bit about animation, you'll notice over here it says 12 FPS. So FPS stands for frames per second. So this means that there's 12 frames per second. You can decrease it, you can increase it. The more frames per second you have, technically it will be a lot more smoother, but for animations in this class, you will just use 12 frames per second, whereas Disney actually uses 24, but for us, 12 frames per second is perfect. So here you'll see add new frame. So if you click on that, you'll notice that this is blinking. This means that it is just rotating through these pictures, through the ball that we have, and then back to a blank page or blank frame. And basically it's just rotating through it, it's looping it. You'll notice that this says toggle onion skin. If you click on that, an onion skin is basically a transparent image from the previous frame. So an onion skin is really, really important for you to use so that you'll be able to see what your previous frame looks like so that you'll be able to animate better. So in this case of our bouncing ball, I'm going to go back to my frame 1. I'm going to use this move tool. I'm going to move this ball up. So this will be my first pose. I'm going to go to my second frame. I'm going to duplicate this frame. I'm going to erase this one. I'm going to duplicate this frame, come over here, grab my move tool, and I'm going to call this pose 2. So you'll notice over here that my ball is going kind of crazy. So now I'm actually going to go back and add in between poses 1 and 2. In-betweens are the animation frames in between our poses, and it gives us the illusion that one pose smoothly transitions into the next pose. And in between are the drawing in this step is for the action between pose 1 and pose 2. So when I animate, I like to favor the frame that I'm drawing toward. So the animation drawing of our ball is not exactly in the middle, but rather a little close to pose 2 than to pose 1. So I'm going to add a new frame. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to bring this over and grab my move tool, and now I can see both the onion skins. So a ball, when it bounces, it goes down pretty fast and then it'll bounce back up. So you'll notice in our animation, that's what it's doing right now. And honestly, I think our ball looks pretty good, but it definitely feels like something's missing. It feels really flat. So in order to give our bouncy ball a little bit of elasticity, we want to add a slightly squashed ball frame right after our pose 2 frame. So you can duplicate this last frame, and then on frame 3, let's make it a little bit more squished. So we're going to take let's take our eraser tool first and kind of squish the ball down, like maybe a little bit like that. And then we are going to grab our pen tool and kind of make it a little bit more squished out. And you can already see that it looks like it's bouncing, and it gives a little bit more of a squashed ball and a little bit more bounce. So it looks pretty good, but it's still missing something. So I want to create another frame, but I want it to be stretched the other way. So when it comes back up, I want it to be kind of more vertical than horizontal. So I'm going to duplicate this frame again. And I'm going to make it more horizontal this time. I'm going to move it a little slightly up. So now you can see that in our animation, it's pretty nice. It actually is looking pretty good. It looks like it's a lot more like an elastic rubber ball. And if I bring the frames per second down a little bit, you'll be able to see how it actually looks like. So here's a slow-mo version of our bouncy ball. And to save this into an animation, you want to go into Export, GIF, loop repeatedly, and then hit the download button. Once you hit that download, it will save it. You want to open this up, and there is your bouncy ball.